to my channel. Today is going to be a very different video. It's going to be about my road to an autism diagnosis, which I haven't talked about on my channel yet. If you follow me on Twitter, I talk about it quite openly, but it's something that I've kept quite to myself because of kind of fear of being judged, and also it's really new to me as well. So in this video I'm just going to talk about why I'm on the waiting list for a diagnosis, how I realised that I think I'm autistic, and which boxes that I check for autism symptoms and behaviours. So first of all, I'm just going to start off by talking a little bit about why I sought out a diagnosis. So really, all my life I've just felt very different, very outcasted, I struggled a lot to fit in, but only in the past couple of years have I really related this to maybe being autism. And one of the main reasons I think is because of the lack of representation of autistic females. For example, the only kind of things I'd heard about autism were like boys who are very clever, very nerdy, like obsessed with trains, like the typical kind of Sheldon Cooper type, which of course is, like, some people can be like that, but once you've met one person with autism, you've met one person with autism. But that is what I saw in the media. That's what I always heard people talking about, like very badly behaved children, like very, very dramatic and that kind of thing, like really, really clever, high IQs, but I didn't relate to that at all. So personally, I was like, well, that's not me, so, you know, I didn't think about it. But over the past about 2 years, I sort of found a character on TV who I somewhat related to, and that was Will Graham out of Hannibal, and he was very different to all of the other characters that I'd seen or heard about, because one of the main things for me was eye contact. He was eye contact, and there was a very specific scene that I related to in Hannibal where they addressed this, and I just kind of related to him. Also, he is quite a sarcastic character. I really started kind of relating to him, which I think helped. And I also friended somebody who has autistic family, which helped because we kind of talked about it. And as I started writing fics, I can't really remember what inspired me to write it, but I created a fic where Castiel from Supernatural was autistic, and I just knew what to write. Like, it was just in my head and I knew how I felt. And it was like I was kind of resonating with him and putting my feelings into his character without really realising it. Last year, I really started researching into it, researching into females that are autistic and finding out that they're actually quite different to boys on the spectrum, which could explain why I've been how I've been. So I found this very helpful list on a website which was where a journalist talked to a lot of autistic females, and I really, when I looked at that list, I mean, they're not specific actual traits that are more on the professional list, but they're personal things from the girls themselves. And I actually had a little cry at one point because I just related to it so much. So now I'm going to get into the typical behaviours and the typical symptoms that I personally have. So number one would definitely be eye contact. I am a lot better at it now, but when I was younger, the only people that I could actually look in the eye and was comfortable looking in the eye was my parents and my sister. Nobody else. I couldn't look other family members in the eye. I couldn't look strangers in the eye, definitely not. I couldn't look friends in the eye, and I just feel strange. Like, I can't really explain it. I feel autistic, you get it, but it's just, I don't know, you just can't concentrate. You're thinking more about looking them in the eye than you actually have a conversation anyway, and it just feels weird and too intimate. I don't know, I just can't explain it. But yeah, since I've got a job though, I have basically taught myself to do it, and I'm quite good at it now, forcing myself to do it, even though it makes me uncomfortable, but I'm definitely a lot better at it now. Sometimes when I meet strangers though, I really struggle, or if I'm meeting a new friend for the first time, it will just take me a while to actually look at them because I just feel very nervous and anxious about it. And number two would be understanding sarcasm and taking things literally. I've only noticed myself doing this after researching into it and realising it, which I don't know if that's psychological or if I've just never noticed it before. It could be either. But sometimes at work, if someone makes a joke, I will take it literally, or if they say something tell me to do something, I'll take it literally. So basically, as far as sensory issues go and sensory seeking goes, the most issues that I have are with noises, especially little noises that other people might not notice so much. For example, chewing, breathing, if someone's, I don't even know, like doing that, like I will hear it, and snoring, any little noise will drive me like insane, and people think that I am a freak. But actually, it's really affecting me. Sometimes it affects me more than others. One time, for example, I was sat at a table eating with someone, and just the whole noise of it made me feel like I wanted to cry, made me feel sick. I just wanted to get out of that. I wasn't enjoying my meal. But other times I'll be able to tune it out. But most of the time I can still hear it, but if I can distract myself, then that usually helps. But I find it very, very hard to sit with people if I can hear things and it's very quiet. I always request the TV on, want music playing. If I can hear noises downstairs, often when I'm going to bed I have to be pretty much in silence, so I'll wear earplugs. Or if I'm just sitting up here and I can hear people talking downstairs, sometimes that can make me really upset. I've cried before because it's just been driving me crazy, so I'll put earplugs in. That's what I really struggle with. I don't like labels in clothes, or if there's something embroidered on, I'll put a t-shirt underneath. It's not so bad to the point where I just want to take it off, but I won't wear it if it's got like a label sticking into me or something. I won't wear it, and I'll wear a t-shirt under it. As for sensory seeking, I have issues remembering back to before I realised I think I'm autistic, so that is really hard for me because I've kind of lost a sense of who I am. I've watched many videos where people talk about masking, which is especially present in females because females on the spectrum are feeling more pressure to fit in, and they actually want friends, so they're very good at masking their traits and masking their kind of true selves when they go out, because they'll copy everybody and kind of make up new different personalities, and that makes you lose your sense of self. So I am now 22, and as of last year I got on the waiting list, so I kind of really resonate with that I don't really know who I am anymore, because I feel like I've masked myself over all these years and just tried to kind of fit in, tried to act like everybody else, that I've just kind of pushed all my actual self down until I've just like changed myself into a socially acceptable person. But I don't feel as bad as it can be. I know other people can feel pretty worse, but I still feel like quite lucky to be where I am right now anyway. But that's another thing. So anyway, back to sensory seeking. I often stim. Like I said, I can't really remember back then, but one of my favourite kind of things to do is leg tapping, foot tapping, nail biting, nail picking, like lip picking. I really like soft blankets. I have a weighted sheep toy. It's like one of them heavy ones that you put in the microwave when I go to sleep. It goes on my head. I can't remember the first time I did that. I don't know why I did that. It could have been because of the noise, but I really find that comforting, so I always do it now. When I was younger, I don't remember too much. I remember specifically though rubbing my hands along the wall a lot until like my hands would go really smooth. Random, but another thing. I remember when I was younger, issues that I had, I wouldn't wear my sock if it wasn't on right. Obviously that doesn't just make you autistic, but they're just all little things that I've been processing in my mind and realising and adding to this like big wall map and thinking like in the middle it says autistic, and then all these little things like adding up. How I went about it. Last year, about summertime, I went to see my GP. She had already downloaded a form for me because I told them that I wanted a autism/Asperger's diagnosis. So she filled in the form, she sent it off. They sent me assessment forms back because they said, we think you should fill in these forms, we think there might be something here. I filled them in. My dad had to fill a section in as well. There was some very weird questions, like did you used to cut up worms when you were a child? No, but anyway. So I filled those in, sent them off, and then found out that I would be on a waiting list, which can be up to 3 years, which sucks, but I'm on the road there. So finally, for this video, I'm just going to find the list of things that the journalist asked autistic females, because I've kept it open in my tabs because it's very, very helpful for me, and I really, really resonated with this. So basically it's just a really, really, really big list, and obviously it says keep in mind these aren't professional diagnosis tools. This is just a rough guide that you might relate to. Lots of different people saying how their personal experiences are. It's not to say you definitely are autistic, but it's very helpful. I will leave the link down below if anyone wants to check it out. So I'm just going to read a few. There's some things in here, for example, social and friendship/relationships. Preference for one-on-one social interactions, single close friendships. I prefer kind of one-to-one interaction rather than being in big groups. I don't really like that. Often prefers to be engaged in her special interest rather than socialising. Another thing that I didn't talk about, probably didn't even make it to the 5, I'm really bad at organising videos, but special interests. For boys it can be very different. For example, the trains thing, which is a very stereotypical autism thing when you think about it. But it says, I have a poster thing that I found, that females, often their special interests are more things like art, writing, TV shows, films, and I watched a video from Aspie World, I think his name is, and he said that it's often things like collecting the memorabilia from the film, stuff like that. And if you've seen my room, yeah. I often find a certain TV show or film and I will obsess over it for a few months and then find another one and obsess over it for a few months. At the moment it is Fantastic Beasts, before that it was Marvel, before that it was a TV show called Rocky Blue, I've been obsessed with Hannibal, and then I will just build up this knowledge base. I'll buy the memorabilia, I will watch it, and it just makes me happy. So I like my special interests, I like talking about them. If you ask me about them, I will tell you anything you need to know. It's something that I love, and I have had people judge me for it before. I have had an old friend say to me when we were going somewhere, I said I would like to watch my TV show when we were going there, and she said, you're not going to watch that while we're there. And it kind of just hurt me because I didn't realise that it was offending other people that I wanted to watch it, but I was literally saying I want to watch a TV show rather than spend time with you, really. But obviously to me that was normal. I didn't know that would bother anyone, but things like that. So another few things. Communication. I have communication issues. I have always been called shy, which is another female autism thing. They just dismiss you as shy because we try to fit in a lot more, we mask a lot more, and it's just put down to shyness. I have had moments of confidence. I used to perform in front of my year 3 class, for example, but then after that I had really bad issues with anxiety, especially in primary school year 6. I would be sick every morning unless I got to go inside before all the other children. I just couldn't walk in with my friends. It was just really hard for me at that time. For example, may have auditory processing issues, struggle with eye contact. Sensory processing disorder comes up on this list. May be clumsy or uncoordinated. Obviously you don't, if you're clumsy you don't necessarily have autism, you're not necessarily autistic, but I often walk into things, my legs are full of bruises. When I pick up chairs at work, I work with kids and they have little chairs. When I'm stuck in chairs, they will hit my legs and I'll just have bruises all up my legs. Sensitive to the way clothes feel, yeah, that happens. May not like to be hugged, cuddled or held. I only like to hug if it is my decision. That is a big thing for me. I hadn't realised how much I didn't really like it, but I have a work friend who has asked me before, can I hug you or will it freak you out? And I don't mind hugging people, but I'm not one for doing that. With my family, yeah. With close family, like parents, yes. Sister, I'll hug. But if not stranger, but if a friend comes up to me and wants to hug me, I'm not comfortable with it. I'm not going to have a meltdown, but I'm just not very comfortable with that kind of thing. May rock, leg bounce, fidget or any other movements of hands, tall hair, strokes of fabric to self-soothe, aka stimming or self-soothing, doodling, draw. I do every single one of these things. I love blankets. One of my favourite things ever is when my soft Hufflepuff blanket gets washed and it smells nice and it feels nice. I love that. Also doodling, I would doodle all throughout high school until we got to year 11 when there was a rule you're not allowed to doodle in your books. I think there was a certain time when you could doodle in the margins, so I'd do that all the time. There's some that say may have sleep difficulties. I often have a really terrible sleep schedule, and I'm a very light sleeper. I'm a very kind of, I can't think of the word. I can't deep sleep. I will shout in my sleep, I will talk in my sleep. I have a Fitbit which tracks my sleep movements, and if I go to bed, say, 9 and get up at 9, I won't have 12 hours of solid sleep. I'll have about 6 hours of solid sleep and 6 hours of rough sleep / awake, because I just can't sleep like normal people. Jeez. Normal people. Ability to hyperfocus for long periods of time involved in the special interest without eating, drinking or going to the toilet is able to hyperfocus on her special interest for hours, often losing track of time. I have done this with writing. I've sat down, I've had a specific idea for a fic, I will write for over an hour, suddenly look at the time, and I've been sat in that same position for over an hour. That's happened a few times. Often if I'm editing a YouTube video, I won't want to move, I want to finish it. Like when I've given a task, I want to do it. I got told at work by my boss, when I'm given a task, I focus on that task, like I have tunnel vision on it pretty much. Like I want to get it done. Anxiety is a constant from the very early years and is often overwhelmed by the amounts of tasks that need to be completed. Triggers for anxiety are varied from too much thinking to catastrophizing to change in routine, change in general, people, perfectionism, ... etc. So yeah, I actually saw a therapist when I was a little bit younger for anxiety. I had very bad separation anxiety from my mum. I don't remember much of it, I've kind of blocked it out, but apparently she couldn't leave the house, otherwise I got upset. I didn't want to go to parties, I didn't want to go anywhere without my mum. I cried when she left me. I do remember one time when I was left with my aunties and I just cried. It was quite hard for me. As I say, I don't really have those memories anymore because I've kind of just blocked them out. But I did have bad anxiety. I've always had bad anxiety, and I know that also can go hand in hand with autism. Not necessarily, but yeah. Okay, well, the last one I'm going to say is highly imaginative. I'm sure I have read somewhere where it said autistic people don't have an imagination or something like that, and I was like, but highly imaginative. I am very good at picturing things in my head. I have characters pictured in my head. I find it quite hard to picture faces in my head of characters, but their houses, for example, in one of my stories, I've written a Newt and Tina fic. I know their exact house layout in my mind and what it looks like. I can picture where I'm going. If I'm going to the hospital, I can just picture the way to go in my mind. If I'm reading someone else's story, I can vividly picture it in my mind, like just the whole entire surroundings. And when I was younger, I used to play a lot of imaginative games with like Barbies, dolls. I would line them up as well, that's another thing I've heard about, and I'd take pictures of them, which you wouldn't really say a normal kid would do, but that's just me. So anyway, I hope that you've enjoyed this video. I also think that some people are going to be shocked if they watch it, if they know me. I don't really want to be embarrassed or judged, but that's just how it is at the moment. But yeah, basically I think I'm autistic. I think it would explain a lot about my life. If I ever finally get this diagnosis, I think I will be able to start self-accepting more, and it will really help me. So yeah. I plan to do more videos about this because I want to talk about female autism more, because I know there's a lack of it in the world, in YouTube, etc. And I want to embrace it, I want to empower people and everything like that. So, thank you so much for watching. Give it a like if you did like this video and you want to see more about my challenges with this road to diagnosis. Subscribe to me if you'd like to see more. I also do videos on my chronic health condition, which is cystinosis, and I do videos on fandom, which is one of my special interests. I hope this has been okay to watch. I hope I didn't ramble too much. I said that every single video, and I do ramble too much. And I hope that it made sense. Also, I just wanted to say that another great channel that I've started watching is Fathering Autism, and they're just an awesome family who deal with autism every day with their daughter Abby, and it's just a really cool channel to watch. So if you want kind of more advice from experienced people, check them out. I'm going to leave their link in below as well. So thank you for watching. Goodbye from your Hufflepuff. Bye. I just really kind of felt, I don't really know what I'm talking about, to be honest. Brush my fringe. So as far as sensory issues and sensory seeking goes, the most, Jesus. So yeah, thank you so much for watching. I really hope that this was been okay. That made no sense. How is it? And I have to edit these out every time.